A very good day to everyone. We are from Group 3 and today we will be presenting our group assignment for the subject Business Law. In completing this assignment, we have applied the ILAC method, which stands for I for issue, L for law, A for application, and C for conclusion. Myself is Lakshmi Anandadas, so I choose to present issue number 1, which is there a valid contract formed between Katapang Trading Co. and Jambal Sdn Bhai? Next, case law. Case law I have classified into two. One is statutes, another one is case law. Statutes under Contract Act 1950, Section 2A, offer is showing willingness to do or not to do something to get agreement. Section 2B, acceptance happens when the offer is agreed to. It becomes a promise. And then section 10.1, a valid contracts need to be free consent, lawful terms, and competent parties. Then section 10.2, some contracts must be in writing or follow legal formalities. Next, case law. First case is Hyde versus Wrench. Hyde made a counter offer to Wrench original price, which rejected it. When Hyde later tried to accept the original offer, it was too late already. Then second case is Pharmaceutical Society versus Boots. Items on shelves were not offers but invitation to trade. The offer happens at the cashier and acceptance is when payment is accepted. The third case, Carlyle versus Carbolic Smoke Ball Co. The company's advertisement was valid offer. Mrs. Carlyle accepted by using the product as instructed and got the flu. Next, application. To assess if a valid contract exists, we refer to Section 10.1 of the Contract Act 1950, which requires offer acceptance, lawful object, lawful consideration, free consent, and competent parties. Katapang Trading Company issued a request for proposal during Chinese New Year based on the Pharmaceutical Society versus Boots. This is seen as an invitation to trade, not an offer. Jamba Sdn Bhai replied to the memorandum of understanding, proposing new terms according to Hyde versus French. This is a counter offer, which rejects the original offer. Later, both parties signed a form agreement witnessed by the Ministry of Investment, Trade and Industry, which is MITI. This showed mutual agreement under Section 2A and 2B, like in Carlyle versus Carbolic Smoke Ball Company. Their action showed an intention to create legal relation. Both are legal entities. The object, which is a semiconductor supply, is lawful. The RM 150 million is a valid consideration, and no early protest was made about the blackmail, so free consent remained valid. The written contract also satisfies Section 10.2, therefore, all contract elements are fulfilled. To be concluded, based on the Contract Act 1950 and the cases of Hyde versus French, Pharmaceutical Society versus Boots, and Carlyle versus Carbolic Smoke Ball Company, a valid and enforceable contract was formed between Katapang Trading Co. and Jambal Sdn. Despite early negotiation, the final signed agreement fulfilled all legal requirements of a valid contract under Malaysian law. Thank you.
For issue 2, whether misrep in Jambal's product specification that induced Ketapan Jericho to enter into the contract. Section 18A saying that something is true but it's actually false even though the person believes it's true. For section 18B, it is someone has a duty to tell the truth but forgets or fails and the other person is misled, even if not done on purpose. Section 18C meaning that causing someone to make a mistake about the main thing in the contract, even if it's accidental. For section 91, if someone agrees to a contract because of coercion, fraud or misrep, then the contract is voidable, meaning that the person who was misled can cancel the contract if they want to. So for the case law, we have 4 case law, which is SPNB Eda Sdn Bhd versus Foremost Housing Sdn Bhd, and then go to William versus Pacific Life Assurance Co. Limited. Then for the third, we have Pitt versus Kearney 1873 and Senanyaki versus NEO for the 4th case law. For the application, to make it short, Section 88, Jambal claim parts tested at negative 40 degrees Celsius to 125 degrees Celsius, but the truth is they tested only at the below of the degrees Celsius, which is not verified. So it is false info given without proper basis. So it misled Ketapang influence contract decision SPNP EDA versus Foreigners Housing Cases Law, which is false promises in brochures leads to misrep. Section 18B, Jembal had a duty to inspect and report through specs, failed to verify key technical info, gained commercial advantage by misleading ketapang. It is related to Go Choi versus Pacific Light Insurance, which is breach of duty due to non-disclosure, meaning it is contract voidable. Section 80C, ketapang believe parts work in extreme condition. This belief affected the very substance of the contract. It is related to Pig versus Kenny, misleading info caused misunderstanding about the agreement. Then section 19.1, concern was caused by misrep. It is meaning that contract is voidable at ketapang's option. So the case is related with Snaky versus NEO. Even innocent misrep can lead to recession. Ketapang has the right to cancel the contract and claim damages. So Jembal's action fall under all three subsect of section 18. Misrep affected ketapang consent. Contract is voidable under section 19.1. Ketapang can rescind the contract and recover the losses. So in the conclusion, Jembal made false claims about the product's temperature range. This was a misrep under section 80A. The false info was important and made ketapang agree to the contract. Based on cases Toshuha, Pig versus Kenny, Snaky versus NEO, and under section 91, ketapang can cancel the contract or claim the damages.
For issue 3, we are discussing whether ketapang can void the contract due to economic dues caused by blackmail. According to the Contract Act 1950, a contract must be made with free consent under Section 10(1). Under Section 14, consent is not free if caused by coercion. Section 15 defines coercion as threatening acts that are forbidden by the penal code, such as blackmail. If coercion exists, Section 19(1) says the contract becomes voidable at the option of affected party. Finally, Section 66 requires an benefits received under a void contract to be written or compensation. Now, case law. First case is Baton versus Armstrong. Threats to life made the contract voidable. Second case, North Ocean Shipping versus Hyundai. Economic dues applies, but the delay can lose that the right. Third case is Chin Nam B. Demanding extra money was coercion. Payment under protest was recoverable. In this case, Ketapang's CEO received threatening emails just 2 days before signing the contract. The emails contain private messages with a warning to sign the deal without delay. This clearly fits Section 15's definition of coercion. Even though he didn't report it immediately, the blackmail happened before the signing, so the contract was not signed with the consent, violating Section 14. Using Baton versus Armstrong, the threats made the contract voidable. Although there was a 6-month delay, unlike North Ocean Shipping, this case involves personal blackmail, which is more serious than commercial pressure. As in Chenambi, this pressure is enough for Ketapangs to claim coercion. In conclusion, Ketapang can void the contract due to coercion under Section 19(1). Supported by case law under Section 66, benefits must be written.
Next, for issue 4, was there a breach of contract when Jembal failed to deliver due to lighting induced fire? So for law statutory provisions, Contract Act 1950, Section 74(1), compensation for loss or damage caused by breach of contract. When a contract has been broken, the other has a right to receive from the party in default compensation in damages for any special loss which necessarily arose in the usual course of things from the breach or which the parties knew when they made the contract to be likely to result from the breach of it. For case law, Hadley vs. Batzendel 1854, Hadley missed shutdown due to broken shaft. Delivery was delayed, but Batzendel wasn't told it was urgent. The court ruled he wasn't liable. Damages must be foreseeable at the time of contract. For Bumi Armada vs. Star Cruise breached a charter agreement. The court awarded full compensation as the losses were direct and foreseeable from the breach. And for Ku Tan Shui, the plaintiff didn't act after weather improved to complete log towing. The court reduced damages because he failed to mitigate his losses. So for application, in this case, Jembal Sdn Bhd failed to deliver 50,000 microprocessors due to a lightning-induced fire. However, the contract lacked a clear force majeure clause. covering natural disasters, making it insufficient under Malaysian law to exempt Jembal from liability. So, under Section 74(1) of the Contracts Act 1950, Ketapang Trading Co. is entitled to claim damages as the breach lead to foreseeable and direct losses, including 7.9 million ringgit in liquidated damages and 25 million ringgit under a loss distribution contract. Based on Hadley vs. Bazender, these losses were reasonably contemplated by both parties. Additionally, internal evidence show Jembal ignored safety warnings, proving negligence, applying the Bumi Armada navigation rule. Ketapang deserve full compensation, unlike in Ku Tan Shui, since Ketapang act reasonably and could not have mitigated losses during extreme weather conditions. For conclusion, is yes, Jembal Sdn Bhd breached the contract by refusing to provide the goods agreed upon. The fire caused by the lightning does not constitute a proper force majeure defense, as the contract did not specifically address such occurrence under Section 74(1) of the Contracts Act 1950 and following the principle laid down in Hadley vs. Bazender and Bumi Armada Navigation. Ketapang Trading Co. has the right to recover full compensatory damages, including consensual losses that are direct or reasonably foreseeable consequences of the breach.
Next, I will continue with issue 5. Are the exclusion clauses in the contract valid under Malaysian law? So, for the statutory provision, under Sale of Good Act 1957, I get Section 15, Sale by Description, and Section 16(1)(b), implied condition as to merchantable quality. So, for case law, we got Bale vs. Taylor and Tornet and Fur vs. Beer and Son. Application. The component was described as capable of withstanding extreme temperature ranged from -40 to 125 Celsius, which was a key part of product description and specification. However, the component provided by Jembal had only been tested to -20 to 101 Celsius, and there was no record and documentation that support the temperature range stated. According to Section 15, Jembal described the component in contract, then this constitutes a sale of description. As in Bale and Taylor case, even if Ketapang had some opportunity to check the good, it was still the sale by description if they relied on Jembal's representation. Under Section 16(1)(b), the Sale of Contract Act, if the good are merchantable and Ketapang has not reasonable opportunity to test the internal or technical quality of component before use, then the implied condition of merchantable quality remain applicable. This is similar with Tornet and Fur, but in this case, Ketapang likely had no full opportunity to inspect or test the internal performance capability of semiconductor until after installation and use in production line. Therefore, any exclusion clause that attempt to exclude liability to defective goods that do not meet to the agreed specification or quality standard, it especially when such defects were not reasonably defectible at the time of delivery, and that may be considered invalid or unenforceable. Next, conclusion. In conclusion, the exclusive clause in contract between Ketapang Trading and Jembal Sdn Bhd is not valid under Malaysian law because Jembal component did not correspond with the description. Based on Section 15, they fail to meet the critical operational temperature like in description. And under Section 16(1)(b), the good lack merchantable quality, especially since they were not suitable for weather and technical condition. So I think that's all from our group. Thank you.